How is the food industry working towards no waste or less waste or zero waste?
Food industry is very, very intricate because you have food expiry. If it is expired product, then you cannot recycle for intake.
Yeah.
These fruits, when they are about to expire, they can make it into.
What I want to talk about is the bigger industries. Are they actually focusing on sustainability, or is it only the new ones that are coming into the market, or the ones that can afford to, repurpose and rebudget and rethink how they're doing things? The existing industries that are leading in the market, are they also working towards
Now,
sustainable goals?
You are compelled to do it in a way. It's not an option anymore. If you look at the technology gadgets, how many gadgets we consume, hundreds and thousands of people are there. The e-waste, there is a policy for it. In corporate boardrooms today, recycling is a policy, not only reduction.
Hello and welcome to another episode of The Green TV. I am Shruti Seetharaman, a content creator, storyteller, and a sustainability advocate. And joining me in conversation today is Dr. Seetharaman,
Hello.
Who is a global banker, a sustainability advocate, and is also going to talk today a little bit on how we can make everyday changes in our lives, in our everyday routine, how we can make changes to build a more circular economy.
That's right.
So we're going to talk basically about how we're all trying to shift, or how we can shift from a process of use and throw to a process of use, reuse, and repurpose and remake. Are you ready for the questions?
Yes, please.
Hopefully you guys are. So I'm going to shoot with the first question, which is the very basics. And for us to actually understand whether this is all faff, basically, are brands actually reusing things and repurposing things, or are they just saying it because it's a nice thing to say, because they want to clock in the CSR, because it's important to me?
It's a conscious reorganization in the world today in corporate terms. They are reusing it, recycling it. We have seen plastic bottles are converted into fabrics. We have seen seaweeds are used by Nike for shoes. I saw a wonderful design in Dubai of late, and we have seen food industries or world-class industries are now changing the usable materials. After you call it as a waste, now it's a treasure. Nothing is a waste in substance, and that's what we have to understand, and the corporate world has understood. This is circular economy principle: reduce, minimalism, reuse, recycle. You can recycle any material and make it purposeful. We have seen, again, IKEA is a classic story again. They use the furniture, repurpose it, and it's more productive.
Yeah, they also have a section which is basically they sell discounted prices of either products that have a defect, or people who've used it for a short amount of time. It's still in decent quality, and you can put your item back there in for sale. They have a very small section which is for repurposing and reusing.
Exactly.
Almost like second-hand furniture.
True.
Which brings me back to a question, which is, you did mention it, but can you dwell a little deeper into what actually happens to a product after we're done using them? What are the options?
So they have to sort it out. See, if it is a used product, the degree of damage is different.
Yeah.
So they have to sort it out and then look at the opportunity in terms of redesigning it. If you have a big wooden materials, if it is completely broken, you can make it into toys. You can redesign it, right? So there are companies who are doing it. When it comes to industries, manufacturing, the wastes are converted into treasure. In building, concretes are turned into for additional layer of tar. So all sort of, it is industry specific, all sort of options are open depending on the degree of damage or usage.
Yeah, and I think it's as simple as, I think we're seeing a lot of brands repurpose in the way that your t-shirt can become a bag, or, I recently came across somebody making a handbag out of something from old cassettes, which we don't use anymore. I am a 90s kid, so I do remember using cassettes, but the film that's inside the cassette, all of that was pulled out because they're redundant now as cassettes. And they made a really cool handbag out of it.
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of ways. It just depends on how creatively we can use it. But I also think outside of it doesn't necessarily require thinking completely out of the box. Basically, there are people who are reusing, for example, what's very, very common right now is how reusing your mom's clothes, your mom's saris. Saris are becoming dresses, they're becoming blouses. So you can repurpose within the same scope of work as well. And I think it all comes down to, for us to start thinking outside of what we already know of use and throw. We start thinking of repurposing and recycling.
True. Repurposing is the name of the game.
Yeah. And I think that brings me to one of the most difficult spaces, or the most prominent spaces where we think about wastage, which is the food industry. How is the food industry working towards no waste or less waste or zero waste?
I've seen food industry is very, very intricate because we have food expiry. Before the expiry, they sort it out if the stock is abundant. They already give it to orphanage as donation. If it is expired product, then you cannot recycle for intake.
Yeah.
Before expiry, you will have early warnings. That's the time, these fruits, when they're about to expire, they can make it into smoothies and juices, right? So all sort of options are open. It's a good chemistry to recognize you can reduce the losses and repurpose it.
Yeah. And I think a prime example of what I saw growing up at home was your mother, who literally, my intestine skincare came from her, because every single day in the kitchen, at night, whatever was not used, she would try and make or think of a DIY mask or something for the hair that you can use. If something was, like for example, that went a bit stale enough to eat, she said it still had the benefits in terms of fermented food is still great for your skin and your hair. So she would try and make a way of not wasting even the last bit. And I think that very subconsciously grew into my actions with not wanting to waste food at all in any way or form. And that dwelt into me trying to understand the benefits of the food we eat, which is good for your skin, which is good for your hair. And I think that's a very important part. But I also think what was very inspiring is that when we did Shweta's wedding, my sister that got married in Dubai in 2021, we were one of the first few Indian weddings that did a zero waste, vegan food sort of wedding. And people didn't know it was, we didn't propagate, we didn't tell anyone it was vegan so that people had the most unfiltered opinion. A lot of people couldn't tell. And I think it was one of the most...
After the wedding, we asked people, how was the food?
Even the sweets that we gave as like the proper Indian sweets, the laddus, the jalebis, the barfis, everything was vegan.
Yeah.
And we had a zero waste wedding.
And I tell you, 6 months they have experimented all options.
Trust me, guys, the weight on the weighing scale was a different number in those 3 months of wedding prep. It's very true. We did a lot of food tasting. We did a lot of experimenting and trying to find ways to create a menu that also had a purpose post then. But I think the most simplest way is, donating food within the same day. I think it's the best thing that people can do. Like I said, sometimes the options are within the same mindset.
Millions and millions of people are, without food, they go to bed.
Yeah.
We have to be compassionate.
Absolutely.
Now, 5-star hotels now, they recognize this and they distribute the food on the same day. It's hot. It's not going to be used. They pass it on, a portion of it to the staff, or they give it to the orphanage.
Yeah.
You have to do it. It's our duty.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say. I think we can start with as basic and simple as not necessarily having to think about, like, for the common man. There are a lot of creative people who find different purposes of a lot of things that we can do. Like, for example, my grandmom, who found a DIY for everything that was available in the kitchen. But
There's nothing is a waste from her.
Yeah, nothing. She didn't waste a single, even the milk packets. I remember back in the day when she used to buy milk packets, she used to collect to like recycle and give it back to the dairy, whoever who was supplying it, the milk guy. And every time in the kitchen, I would see like packets stuck on the wall. I'm like, why are you collecting packets? She's like, because it's plastic. Why should I throw it in the dustbin? It just gets wasted.
You know, the most important part of plastic lives longer than human. Single use of plastic is dangerous. No, that's why we are all eco-conscious now. People are using it for biodegradable materials. Papers are not waste anymore. Nothing is a waste. Let's resound again.
Yeah, like I said, I think you can, like I said, Pati used to do it within the same industry. Let's sell it back to the guy who sold it to her. So even if you can't come up with a way to repurpose it for a completely different purpose, within the scope of what it's being used for, it can be reused. And I think that's also very important so that you don't feel overwhelmed about moving towards those sustainability goals. I really hope she's blessing us and being very happy that we're doing this, because I cannot tell you how many times she has told me, don't waste, don't waste, don't waste. And subconsciously, even today, when I'm like wiping my plate clean, I think of her. So I'm really happy with.
No, she will not allow me to switch on the water while brushing. Whenever you
close the tap.
Yeah, close the tap. Yeah. Whenever you want to use it, use it.
We had a sustainability advocate in our lives every single day, and we didn't even know it enough. I think we didn't realize it enough, but I'm so glad that it was incorporated so that we can try and,
She inspired us. Actually,
not perhaps. I'm 100% sure she's the inspiration for you, and obviously passed down to me until today. Like I said, everyday action. So find someone in your life who propagates, or watch this episode, keep watching the Green TV to try and find ways on how you can be more sustainable is all I would say. Okay, and now moving away from the food industry in terms of waste, what I want to talk about is the bigger industries. Are they actually focusing on sustainability, or is it only the new ones that are coming into the market, or the ones that can afford to repurpose and rebudget and rethink how they're doing things? The existing industries that are leading in the market, are they also working towards sustainable goals?
You are compelled to do it in a way. See, the cost efficiency comes out of reducing the waste, number one. Number two, repurposing it.
Yeah.
So it's not an option anymore. If you want to be cost competitive, you have to do it. Now, you talked about big industries. If you look at the technology gadgets, how many gadgets we consume as an individual or an institution is huge.
Yeah.
When thousands and thousands of, hundreds and thousands of people are there, the e-waste, there is a policy for it. In corporate boardrooms today, recycling is a policy.
Yeah.
Not only reduction. They monitor the consumption and then recycling it. And then purposefully creating a revenue out of it.
Yeah.
Right? So enough ways to recognize there are models which are tested in big industries around the world. It's happening.
I like that it's happening is our takeaway from this. And what I want to move towards is now packaging, which is a predominant, it's everywhere, right? Like in how you transport food, how you consume food, how you take food with you to the office, in our everyday lives. So what's happening in that industry?
It's an absolute opportunity, right? Plastics now is less consumed. Minimalism is a must in terms of plastic. Polythene plastics now, some individuals are feeling, the society now consciously say it's a crime, single use of plastic. The government policies are also turning towards, there are many